Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks host the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. Tonight at 7 p.m., it's soccer night and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway night with postgame fireworks and Broadway rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day and the kids run around the bases.
A great day out for the entire family. Kids run the bases after every Sunday home game. Want the best seats all season? Get more Ferry Hawks for only $63. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come step into centuries of history that await in Scotland. Castles steeped in legend walk along cobblestone streets. Come share the warmth of stories passed down through generations. This is a place with a past that is fully present today and all yours to explore. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Rod, let me let you have the floor here. Talk to us about this amazing IPO. What's happened in the last, 24 hours or so? And I throw a question out to the audience. Did anybody out there secure some of SpaceX stock? And was it a simple procedure today? And your excitement? And if you haven't done that, what might be some of your plans with this amazing company that's going to move us off planet Earth one bit at a time? How excited are you about this whole IPO? Talk a little bit about that with us.
That's a really interesting question, and it kind of pulls two ways for me. So on the one hand, I'm glad to see this large influx of $76 billion going to SpaceX, because they need it if they're going to come even close to meeting the demand by NASA for a lunar lander by 2028. On the other hand, it's tying up a lot of money in one company when there's other companies doing great things that could use some of it. So while one doesn't necessarily exclude the other, as you already mentioned, this is a place where they're parking a whole lot of capital at this point. It was expected to open at about $135 a share. It ended up opening at $155 and closing the market at $161. Mm-hmm. So, past $2 trillion. How does one even? This is like talking about how many stars in the universe, right?
Exactly. You hit it on the head. You're right. That is amazing, Rod, because you may think about this, ladies and gentlemen, if you go back, let's say 100 years or more, the technology revolution that happened with locomotives, steam-powered railroad equipment and so many other technologies, the telephone, the telegraph. This, of course, goes to a higher strata. But I want to give the audience, and jump in on this if I don't get it correct. I think I have. I'm not a trillionaire, I'm not a billionaire, but the understanding of numbers from the astronomical side, let's talk about it this way. 1 billion seconds is 32 years. So you'd multiply that by 1,000, and let's say we were there. Let's say we're a trillionaire, and we put 1 penny per second into a little pot. We'd need a pretty big pot. It would take 31,310 years, Rod, as they say, just to get to that level. And if you had $1 per second, in 12 days, you could amass $1 million. So these numbers, without being ridiculous, are more than astronomical. I mean, it's just incredible to think what a trillion is. But then on the dark side, many out there in the audience would say, well, wait a minute, Dr. Sky. What about our federal deficit, which goes into many, many trillions? Has it even approached, 40 trillion? I don't know, but we'll stick with space. So please continue. It's just an interesting story to report about a guy that probably didn't even think he was going to succeed at that, as he said in his press conference, in a whole different way. It's amazing.
Yeah, when he started this company in 2000, he gave himself a 10% chance of succeeding. His goal at that point was just initially to land a greenhouse on Mars, and then he thought, no, I want to get people to Mars. And that goal has kind of waxed and waned over the years, but in the process of going that direction, he flew the Falcon 1 about 2008, 2009. Number of launch failures. The company was on imminent bankruptcy watch. And then a guy named Steve Jurvetson with an investment fund, a VC, came and bailed them out with a huge cash investment. So, of course, he's got a big payday coming. And then by 2015, 2016, SpaceX is rising to prominence yes. in the launch market. At this point, I think last year they launched almost 160 times. And United Launch Alliance, which is the main competitor, a long-standing legacy aerospace company that started launching rockets in one form or another back in the 1960s, I think, launched twice or three times.
Yes.
So SpaceX has just taken the market over, and they've done amazing things.
You're right, and you have to be amazed, folks. I mean, right here in Arizona, we watch, I'm sure you do in the southern parts of the United States, and even up into the New England states. You can see these amazing, looking like jellyfish, big blobs in the sky as these rockets head out into space. But yet there's many people out there, for another time and another show that we will do, the whole pollution of low Earth orbit is another problematic thing. And not only, of course, is SpaceX putting up a plethora of satellites, so many in low Earth orbit, some coming down, many going up. Other countries are doing the same, so that's a whole nother topic. But just continuing with the momentum here, Rod, I wanted to have you tell us a little more about yourself. I mean, I did a very short bio of you. You've been a friend of mine for many, many years, and I do hear you and see you on other various platforms around the country. How'd you get started in this whole space interest?
Oh, boy. Well, we're of a similar age, so we both grew up during the space age. And if you were aware of what was going on, for me, it was the middle of the Gemini program. I started realizing that there are people going into space. I thought that was amazing, and just was welded to the television set for every Apollo mission there was. I remember the 2-year stand down after the Apollo fire, the long wait for Apollo 7, then the dash to Apollo 8 a couple months later. That was an astonishing time. And, of course, Apollo 11 and all the rest of the flights. And it was a little frustrating because if you remember back then, we only had 3 TV networks, which, of course, is where we were watching all the moonwalks. By the time we got to Apollo 14, the networks felt, there's nothing new here. So they actually cut away from American astronauts exploring the moon to go to reruns of Days of Our Lives in General Hospital. I mean, I just felt so violated as a kid because I was staying home from school to watch this stuff. But, with that grounding, how could you not love this stuff? Because this was really an age of adventure. Then came the shuttle era, slowed down a bit. We're stuck in Earth orbit, but built this magnificent space station. So all along, I was just trying to find my place in that business, and ended up going into the writing and authoring side because it was where I could really tell those stories, just like you, storyteller.
Yeah, there you go. And here we are today, speaking with people far and wide around the nation, around the world. And ladies and gentlemen, your questions and comments, that's why we call this the Theater of the Mind. You joining us in a different type of format where you can call in. No question is impossible. And like we say, our guests and myself, if we don't know, we're going to be very honest because truth and honesty is always the way to go. But there's so much information out there. If you'd like to join in and share your experiences about what you've heard today, and also I hope it's on the positive side. If not, we welcome commentary. The number here, the contact number for the Dr. Sky Experience, 1-800-848-9222. Rod, there's so many other things to talk about here, but in closing off on SpaceX, unless the callers want to jump in on this, and please feel free to respond to them, of course. But let me move forward on this. It's an exciting time in my mind because it's like a national feeling here, an international feeling of getting us off this particular planet. Because if we take a look at how many people are on the Earth right now, and I'm not looking at this, but an hour ago I was, 8,298,600,000 souls are populating the Earth. But the in and out thing, there were 295,000 births within the last 24 hours, and sad to say, 140,000 deaths, so more births than deaths. But where are we going to go, Rod Pyle? I mean, people like Hawking say we need to get off the planet. Other smart people say it. There's always war, and hopefully we'll see the end of the Iranian situation. But the reality is, where do we go? And I think that's why I like what the vision that Elon Musk and even Jeff Bezos and others have.
Well, there's a lot of logic to it, and organizations like the people I work for, the National Space Society, will tell you about, the wisdom of forming, whether you're going to another planet or another body like the moon or Mars, both of which are going to require a lot of engineering to make livable, obviously, or whether you're talking about free space settlements like Jerry O'Neill foresaw back in the 70s. I would say, having spent a month up in the Arctic at a Mars simulation camp up there that NASA finances on Devon Island, which is the largest uninhabited island in the world, there's a lot of room left on this planet. It's not all ideal. Some of it is water deprived. Some of it is very arid and sparse in terms of resources, but it's still better than anywhere else in the solar system. So we've got a lot of work to do, and we've got a lot of room to expand on in the world. I think the other thing, however, that Hawking and others spoke about is water scarcity, food scarcity. With climate change, whether you believe it's caused by human beings or not, you do see the shifting of where crops can grow, massive new insect infestations and saltwater incursions and so forth. So we got a lot of challenges to solve with technology right here. But I'm with you. I do believe we've got to push upward and outward. One thing interesting about this IPO, it created 4,400 new space millionaires out of SpaceX alone.
Wow.
And a number of those people are probably going to either be investing in other companies or doing new space startups, because that's why they got in it in the first place. So we may see a whole bunch of new companies, hopefully not around launch, because we've got launch pretty much covered with Blue Origin and SpaceX as it is. But with the other things we have to worry about, life support, being able to grow food in vats and radiation abatement and that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping to see a lot of new innovation coming out of this indirectly.